Hello, welcome to a late night edition of Hotline Live in association with Scottish Water.
Cheers,
Jack.
You got a wee Scotty size?
Aye, basically.
We're sitting here, it's now 2:20 Boston time. We're here in a hotel in the aftermath.
Just get back off the shuttle bus.
Just back off the bus.
See, you thought that these things were long, are great, glamorous jobs and all that great gigs.
Well, no, for everyone watching, I'd like to point out, they think we're on skiving and all that, going to the football.
2 in the morning.
We were skiving and we were away.
Yeah.
I used to always text you and go, right, he's ready, yeah, what's going on? No, we're here, obviously, Scotland, huge win, 1-0 over Haiti. Look, a few people in the press box were torn. They were sort of saying, look, they never really troubled us, but that game took years of my life.
Aye, it was emotionally draining for me anyway. You were feeling the worst towards the end. It's interesting though, Dan, because you're sitting, I don't know what you think, you're sitting in the press box and your immediate reaction is, didn't he play well? It's just sheer relief that you're in a 1-0 win, first World Cup win since 1990. Massive 3 points, but performance not good enough. It was funny, just for the time it took me to walk from the press box down to the mix zone, and then I listened to Lewis Ferguson and John McGinn, I see how happy they are, and they talk about the expectation and the pressure that was on them getting into that game.
I think it was smothering them in the second half. I said to you in the press box, I said, as that second half was going on, you could see that they were getting a bit scrambled. Yep. The performance became really clunky. Yep. And I felt it was all down to the pressure because they realised they didn't get 2 goals up. They were only 1 up, 1 goal away from it being a disaster in the end of the World Cup. And I thought that's what you saw from that Scotland team. I thought they played in that second half with the weight of the world on their shoulders. Yep. But and to their credit, they didn't buckle under.
They got there.
Right. They got there. And in a very kind of funny way, you wonder now, they can go into the Morocco game, they can get into the Brazil game knowing 100%. It's that pressure, that monkey is off their back. By the way, the first time Scotland have won a World Cup game, group game, since 1990, Italian 90 against Sweden. The first time Steve Clarke has won a tournament game out of 7 attempts.
Very good point. I
didn't
even realise that.
Yeah, I mean,
you said earlier, only the 5th victory in Scotland's World Cup history.
These are all big, significant mileposts here, and I just think the weight was on him. I also think Scott McDermott played like a guy who's not been well, and when Steve Clarke told the world that he was in perfect condition, I think he was being economic with the truth, because Scott McDermott looked a bit spent from the kickoff. Actually, I didn't think he controlled the game the way we hoped.
Stunned he finished it.
Yeah, but I think at that point it was all hands on deck. Also think I wasn't quite sure with the initial formation, because Lewis Ferguson, it was almost like a diamond in midfield with Lewis Ferguson at the base and Scott McDermott at the point, and I felt Scott McDermott was a little bit detached. I preferred him in the Bolivia game when he was in the centre of midfield and he was running the show from in there. Mm-hmm. I know they made the change at half time to make it a flat floor. Yeah, I think to try and get more control in the middle of the pitch. But it was just one of those nights that could have got away from Scotland. They had to get the 3 points. They did get the 3 points. And people can come at this for 2 ways, and we've already seen they are doing. Negative people will come at it and say, well, that was rotten. And if you can only score 1 goal against Haiti, what chance have you got at this World Cup? And by the way, you're probably got in goal difference anyway. And positive, the other side, the happy clappers will tell you, what doesn't matter, we've won. There's a middle ground here. It wasn't a great Scotland performance, but I'm kind of looking at it, I think there's mitigating factors, and I'm hoping that now that they've been able to post that 3 points on the board, I think we'll get a far better Scotland team in the next 2 games, even though they're against far better opposition.
And I think it will suit us. Bless you. I think you said it, Scott. I think it will suit us. The narrative, for want of a better phrase. Morocco and Brazil are expected to beat us. Do you know what I mean?
Look, we went into the game. Maybe we're partly to blame, but we went into the game saying it was a must-win.
It wasn't us winning.
Right. They were saying it was almost a one-game World Cup. So does it really matter how they won in the grand scheme of things?
No, not really.
It doesn't really. Of course, you'd like to see a more fluid performance and a few more goals, but ultimately they've got out of it with a clean sheet, 3 points, top of the group. There's a Scotland legend walking past. 3 points, top of the group, clean sheet. We said just before we came on, I mean, obviously watched Haiti in one of their friendlies, and I thought they were really dangerous going forward. So ultimately,
well, you're wrong, because they were hopeless going forward.
But
no, I don't know if it goes far saying hopeless.
They were hopeless.
They were hopeless once they get into
the penalty area.
Final, but
the final third, they were hopeless. They had no quality, and I think if we're going to be realistic about it, Scotland are lucky about that, because if they had quality in the final third, they would have done a bit of damage to us. At the same time, I think maybe just the nervous energy that was expended on that game tonight, maybe if you sit down and look at it in the cold light of day, we've created quite a lot of chances for, probably more chances in that 90 minutes than we've managed in any other tournament game under Steve Clarke.
And if we're talking about positives, I thought Lewis Ferguson was brilliant. I thought he was really good. I thought Bengan and Doak was fantastic.
Fun enough, Steve Clarke said after the game, he
really?
Those two names were said, great performances from these two. He said, well, you're certainly right about Lewis Ferguson, he was exceptional. Gannon Doak, he struggled against it. He said, I thought the full-back played him really well. Now, I think that's a Steve Clarke mind game.
Try to get him.
I think he's saying, because for me, I was impressed by Gannon Doak all night.
See, the other one I'd throw in as well, and I'm doing it because a bit of a mea culpa, because I wouldn't have even had Grant handling the squad personally. I thought he was brilliant tonight. He was absolutely through everything on the line, and we probably wouldn't have got the 3 points without.
Especially when you're under the caution. There was some severe pressure, but when nerves are starting to jangle at the end, then you need somebody just to
an absolute lock. That's what he gives you. But I felt, reasons to be cheerful, and there are many, by the way. We've talked about the milestones, how significant this win is. I know there were people looking at it going, we've even had conversations on the press bus on the way back there with a couple of members of the troops saying that, that's it, because we in order to get through this group, we really had to score at least 2 or 3. I'm not sure it's as simple as that. Morocco and Brazil have drawn. Scotland and another, here's another big milestone. We're sitting after game 1. We're top of the group.
Top of the group,
We're sitting top of the group.
Stop the count.
And I also look at individual performance tonight. Where can we get improvements? Scott McDermott, once he gets fit and once he's fully recovered from his sickness bout, he's going to be a far better player than he showed tonight. I thought Aaron Hickey had a difficult night at right back. I thought he was up against a decent winger, and I thought he struggled with it. So he can get better, and when he gets better, that's another big bonus to us. John McGinn didn't have his greatest night.
I was going to bring up John McGinn. He was man of the match, and obviously he was credited with the goal.
He gave man of the match because he scored the goal.
I don't like him in the left, and I know he can play anywhere. John McGinn's brilliant. I'm not questioning. I'm just saying that Aston Villa's on that right, cut in. And
listen, if you're moving the ball more fluidly through the middle of the park, that's when your good players get on it. That's when they do their good work. We were giving the ball away. As we get more and more nervous and panic-stricken in that second half, couldn't keep the ball. And I want John McGinn to be a leader in those sort of situations who takes his thing out of stuff. I just thought the game was in danger of getting away. I thought the pressure was just building. Not the pressure that Haiti were putting on us, but probably the pressure that the players were putting on themselves.
They had to keep the ball more. It's as simple as that.
And there's Billy Gilmore.
That
in occasions like that, that's when you need keep the ball. Everybody calm down.
Of course, you want to. The slight disappointing thing is, as we've said, there was a bit of lack of control. I felt this was a bit of lack of intensity in the first half. How much is that down to nerves and a bit of anxiety, a bit of tension?
You guys eat all the cookies over there?
Mate, we're quite busy.
No, mate.
You ate all the cookies?
Promise.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Thanks. Thank God we're not live.
People always accuse me of eating cookies.
I'll need to, I don't even know. We'll need to get
Oh, don't worry
edited
about
that thing.
We wanted to dominate the game tonight because we felt this was the game that we could go and dominate. We could play like we did against Bolivia and have loads of the ball, create loads of chances, rack up a few goals. It didn't happen because Haiti made it really difficult for us, and as we've touched on, we think that just that huge pressure expectation maybe did get to the players. But I agree with Jacko what he said at the start. I mentioned this to a couple of players after the game. These next 2 games might just suit us a wee bit better. I think Steve Clark will come up with a plan, a more defined plan.
Could be the end of the 4-4-2.
Well, I was going to say, will that plan involve Lauren Shankland?
Lauren Shankland, I think he'll be doing well to keep his place.
But he had a poor night.
Just nothing was coming off from him. But I just felt as a team we didn't function. I don't think.
I'm not saying it's on him. I would have started Shankland.
We did create a lot of half chances. I actually thought in the first 6 minutes of the game we've created 3 decent half chances, 3 opportunities, and you're thinking, oh, this is good. We've started nice and bright, and it was almost as if the Haitians sort of weathered that early storm, and then they started to flex a little bit. And I don't know what I think. Do you know what I thought happened? I thought we got to the first water break, and it was as if Steve Clark said, because we were taking too many touches on the ball. Big Jack Henry was really guilty of it. He was coming out for the back, but he was taking 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch before he was popping the ball off. And we need to move the ball at pace.
I remember noticing it after that first water break right away. It was 1 touch.
The intensity changed. And by the way, I was tearing my hair out in the press box. The amount of times that we were coming out looking to play out from the back, and there was a simple ball on, and it was on 9 times out of 10. Because Gannon Dock was peeling off. There was so much room in behind him, and that's not a difficult pass, Scotty. I'll tell you, a clip over the top when you've got a guy as rapid as that, he'll make an average ball look like a brilliant ball. And we weren't playing them. Do you know who? And do you know who spotted it for the first time? McTominay. McTominay dropped a little bit deeper. He released Gannon Dock with exactly that ball, and then McTominay burst to get to the edge of the box, and that's where he hit the post. Now, if that goal goes in, that was only 17 minutes, I think. It could have been a less stressful night. After the water break, we increased the tempo, we increased the intensity, we get the goal. And again, I thought 2 things. Steve Clark said we need to pass the ball sharper, with more purpose. And also, guys, Gannon Doak's giving you an option every time. Use him. And it was Shea Adams, obviously, a long ball for Hanley, good ball over the top. Shea Adams, I thought, did brilliantly to get it under control, hold it up, and the first person he looked for was Gannon Doak. Gannon Doak gets it. Shea Adams makes his way into the 6-yard box. Keeper kind of bats it out from him, and it breaks him again. And yes, it does take, I don't know how many different deflections on its way into the back of the net, but who cares?
Well, look, just before we wrap up, because it is 2:30 in the morning here, movements the next couple of days. Scotland go to Charlotte tomorrow, and so do we.
We do tomorrow night, and
there was a scare story floating about, wasn't there, about there being no food for the press in the media centre, but that's wide of the mark.
Has that been dispelled? Because I'm still believing that was true.
We're not going to name the guilty party who seems to have got that information entirely wrong.
Well, thank God it's wrong.
But no, press conference Monday.
Because it's sat early as a Sunday morning. Scotland then play Morocco Friday, and then Brazil Wednesday.
I've written a column for tomorrow morning. This morning. This is the breakfast bundle. So. You can catch up with that. That's my big match verdict. Scott,
your breakfast reading.
Scott, you spoke to who after the game? The Mixon?
Lewis Ferguson and John McGinn. They did the kind of flash interviews on the night, so a wee bit of that. And then we got a word with Grant Hanley and the captain Andy Robertson. So
excellent.
So all that to come over the next couple of days.
That's all there on Record Sport for you now to check out.
And how are you feeling, Dan? Do you feel as if you've given your all here?
I feel I've really given my all. I really do. And for anyone that's been watching my daily vlogs, have you guys been catching up with that?
No. By the way, just how good was that whole experience, I think, in the
It
stadium.
was.
Aye, that's actually a good point because I said it in the press box.
When you were walking in, I've got to tell you, you were like a dog with two ding-a-lings.
Aye, no, it was weird. Aye, it was like. I don't want to get too cringy about that, but you got to urinate. It's for these moments. It was great, but like we've slagged off our American hosts a wee bit with the prices, and rightfully so, and stuff like that. But seeing that stadium tonight, it was spectacular.
I think one of the highlights and one of the wee things that will live with me for years was on the media shuttle bus going down to the stadium. We passed a convoy of 22 of those yellow school buses.
Yep.
Which had been commandeered by the Tartan Army, 22 of them in a row. They're all hanging out the windows, the scarves, the flags all over the place. You just look at it, go, this is mental. This is the chaos of the World Cup and the Tartan Army. And it was good. And I think at the end, I think the fans inside the stadium were really happy, really jubilant, and they were showing their appreciation to the players.
The Loch Lomond before kick-off was amazing. The Flower of Scotland was...
Do you know that the one wee thing was we were behind glass, the press box was behind glass.
Really peculiar,
so you just didn't... It was really nice and it was air conditioned, it was a great place to do your work. But I kind of felt you were kind of missing out on a little bit of the red meat.
We couldn't hear the referee whistle all the time, so we couldn't tell.
But you could sense how good it was at the end of the game. And the songs that came on, the players were celebrating with the fans. I think you're right about the fans. No, despite the performance, whatever you might think it, these punters can say they were at a World Cup win in Scotland. How many did you say we've had in our history?
That's only the fifth in history.
If you're there, what a thing to be able to say.
Absolutely incredible. It's a bucket list thing, isn't it?
People only want to look back and say, oh, we were rotten that night. Just go and say, I've been at
who cares, And without being, it's this whole we were rotten thing as well, without being too patronising Haiti, that's the biggest game of their lives. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, and they might not.
Well, they knew if they were going to have any chance of doing anything this World Cup, they had to.
But like us, So
they lacked a bit of quality. We had enough quality to get the job done. And as I said to you, in the cold light of day, probably you look back on it and it wasn't just as bad a performance as what's in your head because you were made to sweat. We were comfortable. Angus Gunn didn't have a save to make, and if we'd taken 2 or 3 chances, it could have been a far more kind of less stressful evening.
You've hit the post, you've scored. McGinn's had a really good chance.
Yeah, should score it.
He kind of skews wide. A couple other half chances, you see in either half. Maybe you're right. Maybe it wasn't quite as poor as you thought. Sitting watching it, that's probably partly your nerves.
Because it's stressful for us.
Absolutely. Listen, beat Morocco next week. Put the reserves out against Brazil. You're laughing. I think for now, it's time for us to hit the hay. But thank you very much for watching.
I know I'm going to finish. Even if it takes me, look at the size of this thing. It could take me about an hour.
Well, by the time the next Hotline Live starts.
Committed to
it. So what are we saying? We're Hotline Live. We're back on Sunday afternoon. Our time. I'm so lost on time.
I've lost
what day is it? Earlier as a Sunday, but we'll be back at some point in the not too near future. Not too distant future. Listen, we'll see you later.
Well, I think we're doing it before we travel.
We're going. So it'll be some point Sunday. So it'll be late Sunday for everyone back home.
Maybe about 8 p.m. something like that.
9 p.m.
Yeah.
We'll get it sorted. But thank you very much.
I'll try to cover for this big can.
Thank you very much for watching.
Big can and wee Dan.
Hopefully you can join us again soon. Cheers.